Hey everybody, it's Jack and Dan.
We got a little unboxing and review of an aquarium product today, don't we, kiddo?
Yes, it's called the Hygger LED Digital Display Ulva Heater.
Yeah, this is a smaller, they have two mini heaters. One of them's a 50 watt, one of them's a 100 watt. This could be used for a very tiny aquarium, around 5 gallons or so. This is a 50 watt. Let's open this up, check it out, dude. All right, Jack loves doing the unboxings. Now, Hygger reached out to us. They said, hey, you guys got a lot of aquariums and stuff like that. And one of the things they noticed is we have some smaller tanks. Let me show them those real quick. In case you haven't seen, we have a little beta rack here. We have a male beta 20 gallon up here and a little princess tank. That's about an 8 or 9 gallon down there. And then we have a little kind of a man cave we made that's only 5 gallons. The difference with this man cave is we have CPDs in there, don't we? Celestial Pearl Danios. They, unlike the betas, do require some heat. Now, we don't necessarily heat them, but in the wintertime here in Cleveland, we do usually put a small heater in there. We've used various small heaters over the years, but let's take a look more of what one of these is like. Now, obviously, we're going to put links in the description and everything like that. And we're going to have, like, you know, affiliate codes and coupon codes and all that sort of thing. And that'll all be in the description in the pinned comment. Overall, this is a really neat little guy. Now, this can be used in a small, like, amphibian tank, in a small turtle tank. And it does come with this little protector, doesn't it?
Yes.
So instead of just being like a glass bar, let's say you got some little turtles. They got a little swimming area. Let's take a look here at what it says. Yeah, so this is the 50 watt. So it can be used for like a little tiny tank, around 5 gallons or so. And looks pretty cool. It's got suction cups. They seem to work good. So let's take a look at the instructions here. One of the things that they suggest doing is putting it in a test tank. Well, we have another tank here that is about also 5 gallons. Ultimately, it's going to end up in that middle rack there. We're going to do something else with that. But we just basically filled it up with cold water. And of course, cold water in Cleveland that comes out of the tap is going to be pretty cold. Probably like around, you know, I mean, it pretty much feels like ice water, doesn't it? Yeah. All right, so one of the first things they recommend is putting this heater into the water, either on the back or the bottom of the tank, sticking it to the sides, and then plugging it in. If for any reason there were some sort of faulty wiring, you don't want to plug it in and then put it in with your hand, right?
Yes, that would be bad.
That would be bad. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it in now. I'm going to plug it in right there. Oops, got to turn it around. All right, now it's got a little digital reading. Now what you do is it's got this little set button here. And all you're going to do is you're going to press that button until it goes to what you want it to be. Okay, we positioned it down a little bit lower in the tank. And basically you can see here when you hit this setting, it just kind of runs through. If you click on it, it's going to actually go one up from where you're at. So 94 is the highest, 63 is the lowest. You keep clicking on the button there, just like that. And it's going to take you up to 78. So again, if you click on it to find out where you're at, it's going to take you up to 79. But hopefully it will go up about 18 more degrees. Again, this is pretty cold water at 60. I mean, so we'll come back and we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, it's now Sunday mid-morning. We just went to the gym and we came back. Quite honestly, we went and came and checked on this after setting it up yesterday morning. And in only about, 4 or 5 hours, this went from 60 degrees to 78.
Yeah, it's pretty warm.
So it does work pretty efficiently for a small tank. It's only 50 watts, but in, you know, a 4 or 5 gallon tank like this for what it's made for, it did work within just a few hours. We let it go overnight just to make sure it was consistent. You can see the thermostat is kind of, you know, going between 78 and 79, which is normal. Because when the heater turns on and heats up the water, it might go over a degree before it reads it. You know, that's just how a thermostat works. Jack's idea was to take an old kind of oral, mercury thermometer, which I got a couple of those around still. And we throw it in here. And, it was right on the dot. It was 79 degrees. So at the end of the day, we just wanted to test the thermostat to see if it was actually working appropriately, and it was. The only thing that Jack had recommended, you were talking a little bit about the size of the heater.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit bulky. You know, if they didn't have the light display and they had it on like the set area here, it probably would be a lot smaller.
Yeah, Jack's suggestion is one of the critiques, you know, because if you have a nano tank, I mean, this is a small tank. You want the heater to be as small as possible. His suggestion would be to put the thermostat over here where the set button is, right?
Yeah, and you say, well, it's used for a big tank. Well, it doesn't work in a big tank because that's just not the type of filter.
Right.
I mean,
So it's right. So it's super cool, but at the end of the day, one of our critiques would be to cut down on the size, would be to put the digital readout over here by the set button.
It's got a big bulky cord.
Yeah, and you could probably just look underneath the tank or something like that to see the thermostat. But or maybe have some sort of other area where it could be hung, you know, outside the tank or on the rim of the tank. That way the actual room inside the tank wouldn't be used up too much.
You know, maybe you could use it for like a nursery tank, stuff that's not supposed to have like other decorations in it.
Right.
So that you could just put like it in there and then some baby fish or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You could use it for that.
Other than that, it seems like a great little heater. And again, we'll put links in the description. It's about $20. And then when you move up to the 100 watt, which is more for like a 10-gallon tank, that one is, I think it says 10 to 20 for that one. That one's like 30. We're going to be using it in this small little 5-gallon tank here that we made. Now we do have this big gnome house in the corner here. So what we're going to do, we got a little extension cord running because we actually used all of our outlets underneath here from our bar. So we're going to put it behind here, run an extension cord. We're going to see how it all looks. And hopefully just by looking like at the side, we'll still be able to see the thermostat, but at the same time, it won't kind of obstruct any of the view or our escaping. So let's get it in there and see how it looks. Okay, so here's what we did. We kind of put that set button kind of hanging out from behind the rack. Now, again, if you're not familiar with this rack, this is an old rack that someone was throwing away. We decided to kind of turn it into a beta tank. This was an old tank that we had that we, you know, weren't using anymore. It was actually an aqua cave in a big tank. This was a tank that somebody was throwing away. This was a tank that somebody was throwing away. And we kind of made this thing. We used black poster board to kind of cover up the front area where all the stuff is hidden. On the sides, we just have like little gray towels. And again, that hides all of the infrastructure of the tank, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the cords and all that stuff and the timers. Same with the little princess tanks doing fantastic. What's that?
You can't see anything. It's just a nice add-on to it. It makes it look like the rest.
Yeah, we kind of hid everything down there. Now, this is our little princess tank. If you've never seen it, we have 2 female betas in here. They're doing fantastic. We are going to be trying to breed one of them with Wade up there at the top. This is the little pool that lights up at night. There's one of the little nerate snails. Isn't it kind of cool? He went along the whole edge here. He disrupted this sand, but it ends up settling back down. But they kind of clean that off. Now, we also have 2 little horned neorites in there, and those guys are really cool. They've been in there for quite some time, but they're hard to find sometimes, but the 2 of them are both right there in the front, so that's kind of neat. And there's another big one. Oh, there she is, right up here. And these guys kind of, if I can focus in there, it doesn't want to focus. These guys kind of signify the little beach balls of this little like beach theme. And we turn that castle into a filter, and you can see the air bubbling up there, and that works really well. And in the morning, well, really for a vast majority of the morning, this sun comes in here, and these tanks get hammered with sun for quite a few hours in the morning, and it kind of warms them up. And these 2 beta tanks, this one on the bottom, this one on the top, we don't really ever plan on putting, heaters in them. Because they seem to do well year-round. They don't really seem to have any problem, and we've had them for years. And that's our big male bait up there in the corner. And again, we've done a lot of videos. You can check out our aquarium playlist and how we wired all this and did all these lights and everything. That was Cap, one of our most beloved betas of all time. We named him after Captain America because Jack thought, with the red, white, and blue that was cool. That is a picture that Punchy Paints made for us. Really, really awesome to commemorate him. Inevitably, that little tank that someone threw away, it's a little plastic tank that we actually just tested the heater in. That's going to go on this shelf. And again, all of this pothos comes out of that top tank and comes down, and the roots go into all these other tanks. Now, this is the one that we call the man cave. This is the one that we wanted to use the heater for. And the reason being is because we have the CPDs in there. These were in a different tank in Jack's room that we inevitably do not use anymore. And you could see they're doing wonderful. We made this as a kind of a backup tank, not only for the CPDs to enjoy, but for Wade in case when we breed him, you know, he gets aggressive with the babies, we'll probably take him out and put him in here. And this was just a little under gravel filter that we kind of made from some old pieces and parts. This is an old rock and a geode. And then of course we found this cool gnome house. What we did, if you haven't noticed yet, is we put that little heater kind of behind the gnome house. And it's kind of cool because it's in the black part of the cave. Of course, we used a cave background, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because Jack said, hey, it's a man cave, let's use a cave background.
It's like a secret hideout.
It's kind of neat. So this is just a neat little 5-gallon tank that somebody threw away, didn't want. And we put a little splash guard on it. You can see that I actually moved that pothos. I got to put it back in when I was messing around. But this pothos is reaching in here, and it is going to start having roots very soon. We have some other pieces and parts that we put in here that have grown roots. These were some clippings that we took off. Sometimes little areas die or they don't do well and they fall to the bottom of Wade's tank, and we put them in here and they just start growing. They grow their own leaves, they grow their own branches, they grow their own roots, and we just kind of tucked them behind there. So this tank has been set up for, what would you say, man, six or 8 months now.
Yeah, probably.
Never did a water change at all. Haven't had to do anything. CPD's been in here the whole time. Between the under gravel filter, the bubbler, and the pothos roots, we just top it off every couple of weeks when it evaporates. And this little area is just kind of a splash guard for the under gravel bubbler coming up. We use the gnome house to conceal the under gravel filter kind of chimney coming up, and then we drill the hole. So anyway, if you haven't seen those videos, check them out. We'll put a link to the description. But due to the fact that these CPDs are going into the winter time, we wanted to make sure that they would be okay. At first, we were a little concerned we wouldn't be able to see the thermostat, but you can see here, if you go sideways, I'm kind of kneeling here. If you just move this little leaf out of the way, you can actually see that thermostat clear as day. It does say 68 on it. There you go. So it was about 68 in here, and that's probably as cold as these guys get. Now, again, it is morning. When that sun comes in here, which it normally does, it will usually go up to about 72 or so, and we know because we've tested it. And now this tank will kind of stay a little warmer. Now, if, in fact, that Wade does end up going in this tank, we will have to acclimate him because his tank obviously is about 68 to 72. And so if we put the babies in there, we'll have to acclimate him to that tank. He's kind of up here hanging out in the corner. There he is. There's one of the big golden snails. We've had golden snails in this tank. Well, we've had golden snails our whole life, but in this tank specifically with Cap and then again with Wade. And they are just beautiful, and they do a great job of cleaning up. They crawl over the Java moss and the roots of the pothos. We also have the bamboo coming out the top. Really kind of a cool setup. He's just kind of still sleeping in there in the morning. He's like, hey, it's early, guys. But anyway, that's our big beta rack. Oh, just keep moving too fast for the focus to catch up. That's our big beta rack. So that's going to be the heater. We're not exactly sure how we're going to use that tank and what we're going to do here with it in this shelf, but we'll find something interesting. I think Jack was thinking about, you were thinking about maybe even shrimp or something, or crayfish.
I do like crayfish. I do like shrimp. They're kind of cute. They're kind of cool. Nice.
Yeah, maybe blue
like
crayfish or white crayfish.
Ghost or blue.
Ghost crayfish, something of that nature. And if that one isn't big enough, of course, we could always make that one Wade's tank and then put crayfish up here. So there's a lot of different possibilities with this rack, but you know, it's just a fun little rack that we put together over here in the in-law suite. The previous owner had an in-law suite. Inevitably, this area will be turning into a pond for the turtles. That'll be some upcoming videos. And then, of course, we found that tank in the trash that we have still yet to test, that we may be putting in either Pamela's office here or Pamela's office at work. So anyway, we want to say thanks to Hygger for sending us this heater. It really does fit our need. We have used micro heaters in the past. Again, It would be kind of cool if right down here on the little set button, the thermostat was down there, something like that, to take up a little less room. Luckily, we were able to kind of hide it. You know, part of what we do with our designs is we try to make the tanks look different and cool. We don't want to see a lot of necessarily the architecture that's involved with the cleaning and the heating and the filtration. We try to hide some of those things. It's one of the things that we do. But anyway, it worked out very well. Hopefully these CPDs will be happy. They will be nice and warm by the time nighttime rolls around, which is good because we're moving into January here and it does get very cold here in Cleveland. So we will again post a lot of the videos that we refer to in this video. We'll put them in links down below so you can check them out. Some of our other videos where we built some of these tanks. And of course, whatever, you know, coupon code or affiliation type of link that Hygger gives us, we'll be putting that in there too. We think it's a great idea. Thanks a lot for it, but hopefully you guys appreciate some of the critique that we're giving. We're just being honest with you. I've been doing this for 44 years. Jack's been doing it ever since he was born, and we do a lot of aquascaping, and we think it's a great little heater, but it would be cool if it was smaller in size and the reading was somewhere outside of the tank. Other than that, hopefully we will continue this relationship with Hygger, and they're going to be, from what they said, sending us some other products, which we're going to be testing in some of our tanks and some of our builds. And so stay tuned for that. Make sure you like and subscribe for future videos. We hope everybody's having a great holiday season and a great new year.